Who is your hero? If you ask a child this question, you might hear names like superheroes, famous athletes, or movie stars. Years ago, a teacher asked the same question to a young boy named Aasher. "Class," she said with a smile, "for tomorrow, I want each of you to write an essay about your hero." Immediately, the classroom filled with excitement. "My hero is Superman. My hero is my favorite football player. I'll write about the world's fastest runner." But Aasher remained silent because he didn't know what a real hero looked like. What he didn't realize was that his hero had been standing beside him all along, quietly, without applause, without recognition. This is the story of Aasher and his father, Elias. Every family has stories. Stories of sacrifice, stories of love, stories that quietly shape who we become. Welcome to Raahvia, where every story leaves behind a lesson for life. That evening, Aasher sat at the dining table, staring at a blank sheet of paper. At the top of the page, he wrote, "My hero." Then he stopped. Who should he write about? Just then, the front door opened. His father, Elias, stepped inside after another long day of work. His shirt was wrinkled. Dust clung to his clothes, and exhaustion rested heavily upon his shoulders. But the moment he saw Aasher, he smiled. "What are you working on, son?" Elias asked. "Our teacher wants us to write about our hero," Aasher replied. "And have you chosen one yet?" Aasher shook his head. Elias smiled softly. "You'll figure it out." Then he quietly walked into the kitchen to help prepare dinner. A few moments later, Aasher picked up his pencil and wrote the name of a famous football player. Because in his young mind, heroes were extraordinary people, and fathers were simply fathers. Life continued as usual. Every morning, Elias woke before sunrise. Every evening, he returned home tired. Sometimes, he repaired Aasher's torn school bag. Sometimes, he stayed awake helping him with homework, despite struggling to keep his own eyes open. Sometimes, he gave up things he needed so that Aasher would never have to go without. But children rarely understand sacrifice while they are living inside it. To Aasher, these were ordinary things. He never noticed that his father's shoes had begun to wear out. He never noticed that Elias had postponed replacing his old raincoat for months. He never noticed, because love that shows up every day often becomes invisible. One afternoon, dark clouds gathered over the city. By the time school ended, rain poured heavily from the sky. Parents arrived one by one. Children hurried home beneath umbrellas and raincoats. Slowly, the school gate became empty, except for Aasher. He looked down the road, then checked again. His heart began to sink. Maybe his father had forgotten. Maybe work had kept him too busy. The rain grew heavier. Minutes passed. Then, through the curtain of rain, Aasher saw someone running toward him. It was Elias, completely soaked, breathing heavily, holding an old umbrella. "I'm sorry, son," Elias said between breaths. "Work finished late." As they began walking home, Aasher noticed something strange. His father wasn't wearing a raincoat. And although Elias carefully held the umbrella over Aasher's head, his own shoulders remained exposed to the rain. "Dad," Aasher asked, "where's your raincoat?" Before Elias could answer, their elderly neighbor, Uncle Peter, smiled gently. "He sold it months ago," he said, "to buy your school books." Aasher stopped walking. "What?" Uncle Peter nodded. "Money was tight. You needed new textbooks. Your father said books were more important." Elias looked uncomfortable. "It's nothing, son," he said quietly. But for Aasher, it wasn't nothing. For the first time, he noticed the worn-out shoes, the rough hands, the tired eyes, the sacrifices hidden behind ordinary days. As the rain continued to fall, Elias adjusted the umbrella once more, making sure not a single drop touched his son, while he himself remained soaked. And suddenly, Aasher understood. That night, Aasher opened his notebook. He stared at the essay he had written earlier. The football player's name stood proudly at the top of the page. Slowly, he erased it. Then, with careful handwriting, he wrote, "My hero, my father." He paused, then continued writing. "My hero doesn't wear a cape. He wears worn-out shoes. He works even when he is tired. He gives without expecting anything in return. He sold his raincoat so I could have books for school. He protects me even when no one is watching. My hero is my father." As Aasher finished writing, he realized something important. Heroes aren't always the people the world celebrates. Sometimes, they are the people who quietly help us become who we are meant to be. Years passed, but Aasher never forgot that rainy evening, because that was the day he finally understood that real heroes don't always appear in movies. Sometimes, they wake before sunrise. Sometimes, they carry burdens no one notices. Sometimes, they sacrifice their own comfort so their children can dream bigger dreams. And sometimes, they sell their raincoat so their child never has to stand in the rain without hope. If your father is still with you, tell him what he means to you. And if he is no longer here, honor his sacrifices through the life you choose to live. Because for many of us, our first hero, our quiet protector, our silent teacher, was simply called Dad. So tell me, who is your hero? And have you ever thanked them for everything they did when no one was watching? Share your answer in the comments, because sometimes the people who deserve our gratitude the most are the ones who never asked for it.